iPhone for a long time, but I've also been covering quite a few Android devices as well in my time on YouTube. And today I want to talk about why do people still pick the iPhone in 2020, even though there clearly are some beautiful pieces of hardware now on the other side. And the first reason is a very simple reason. I think there's a misconception that you have to have some complex reason to choose one platform over the other, but it's really down to just this. People just like iOS better. Like, you don't have to go on and explain why. People just simply, some people, not everyone, I don't want to generalize here, but some people just like iOS better. I'm talking about those people that do continue to choose iPhone no matter what hardware is announced on the other side. I actually know people like this in my personal life outside of YouTube that will just say, it's a beautiful phone you have there, but I don't like Android. I don't care. I simply do not care enough about the hardware to let go of my iPhone. So, and I've showed people this as well, right here, this Galaxy, and they said gorgeous phone, but I'm not switching from my iPhone. So some people just like iOS better. It doesn't matter if Samsung or, any other brand out there, Google, we could talk Xiaomi, Huawei, anybody. If they produce a phone with just way better everything, which they've done multiple times, I think, in certain scenarios, people are still not going to pick it because it's not iOS. And everyone has their reasons why. And the people who hold this opinion, they do have their reasons. For some, it's software updates. For some, they like certain applications that come on iPhone you just can't get on other platforms. I know someone who likes the iPhone simply because he thinks the games are a better experience on the iPhone than Android. He's been a gamer for a long time, and he simply just says, I like the iPhone more because I like the gaming experience better. So everyone has their personal individual reasons, but that's number one. It's just some people just like iOS better, period. Now, I've also observed that some people pick iPhone just because they think Apple is immune to security hacks, security risks, and this is simply not true. Now, I'm not going to deny that Apple has some of the best security in the business. This is definitely true. But at the same time, even though you're getting updates all the time, there's still ways that hackers find to get into your phones. And you can kind of see why, things like, VPN services are definitely very, very popular these days because you can still get hacked on a public network. And there's constantly people finding holes, and even Apple will sometimes pay people to find bugs in their own software. So it's not perfect, but I do think that people have this conception that it definitely is, and they are totally immune to any attacks when it comes to iOS. So that is one of the reasons I believe that, people still pick iPhone. Is just they just think there's no way anything will happen to them if they're using an iPhone security-wise, and they think Android is just so darn vulnerable to things like this. And really, I found if you don't go doing anything third party or extra and you keep a VPN service on both platforms, you will be fine. Okay, so the next one is familiarity. So take a look at the iPhone 8 Plus here. So if you had this phone, you had it a couple years and you're like, you know what, I'm ready to upgrade. The iPhone 11 Pro Max might be something that entertains you, but you can see that there's still familiarity here with the software, the size of the phone. Yeah, the screen stretches, but you're going to be used to using the iPhone. Like, yeah, it's going to be a little bit different with the gestures and stuff like that, but you're still kind of used to it. There's a lot of familiarity here. Now, the next reason is that iPhones are easily recognizable. Now, while they might look a little bit different on the front, if somebody kind of sees it from a glance, they're going to know you have an iPhone. Now, when it comes to an Android phone, it's a little bit different. So if you're using like a Galaxy S20, for example, someone might not know if you're using a Galaxy S20, a Huawei phone, a Motorola phone. Nobody's going to know exactly kind of what you're using from a quick glance. They'll have to look a little bit closer to see you're using a Samsung phone. Well, that doesn't hold true for Apple. It's pretty recognizable. Once you see those icons, yep, that's an iPhone. I could see it from a mile away. The next reason is no bloatware. Now, I often criticize Apple for not allowing you to put apps where you want on the screen, but at the same time, you still can delete quite a few applications, even some of your basic apps, which is a little bit strange. You could delete the calculator. Like, why would you do that? Don't you need a calculator on your phone? But you can delete that if you want, and you don't see any crapware from the wireless carriers. Apple doesn't allow this on their phones, and for that reason, you get an incredible amount of just, good applications that you choose to put on. You don't have to deal with, seeing AT&T or a Verizon wireless bundle movie app or something. Here's some free movies, blah, blah. I don't want that on my phone. We're good to go here with what Apple's giving you here on the iPhone. So a lot of people do appreciate that. It's a very clean experience right out of the box. Okay, so the next reason is people think their iPhone is going to last longer than an Android phone. Now, when it comes to software updates, that's absolutely true. We've talked about that many, many times before. But when it comes to a physical piece of hardware, it's not like in 5 years, the Galaxy S20 Ultra is not going to turn on and the iPhone 11 Pro Max will. They're both going to turn on. The difference is that the iPhone will be on current software. The Galaxy may not. So technically, both of these will last 5 years, but the iPhone will just have more current software, and that current software for a lot of people is the deal breaker when it comes to Android. They don't want to be, 2 years, 3 years, especially when you're charging $1,400 at a starting price with 128 gigabytes for a smartphone. Okay, so the next reason is that some people have had bad experiences with Android phones in the past. Now, these days, Android phones like the A71 are great at a mid-range price point and are going to give you a good experience even though you didn't pay much for them. But it's just a fact that some people started or tried an Android phone before, a cheaper one. It was really slow because you get what you pay for. If you pay for a cheap phone, you're going to get a slow, bad experience, more than likely. That's not really true anymore, but people who used to buy those phones in the past had that bad experience, it implanted within their mind. Then they got an iPhone, which was always playing in that smooth premium market, and then they just feel like this is the best phone ever. So I think past bad Android experiences create a lifelong iPhone user sometimes who just will always pick iPhone going forward. The next reason is they're easier to sell and higher resale. Now this one, there is no argument. The iPhone is a faster phone to sell. It sells super fast. If you do a good post and you sell this thing third party, anywhere you go, you're probably going to sell it relatively quickly and you're probably going to get a good amount of money. And if you put it at a really decent price, like beating everyone around you, you're going to sell it in the snap of a finger. Now, the next one is the ecosystem. So if you have multiple iDevices, such as different iPhones, you have an extra Mac, you have a MacBook Pro, you have an iWatch or Apple Watch. I said iWatch. Are you serious? We had an Apple Watch. Get it together, Nick. We have an Apple Watch, an iPad. You're going to just really like how you can just airdrop things between each other. Everything is kind of in sync. It just seems like you're just using the same system across the board, just on different products and different sizes. Now, Samsung is really strong when it comes to this area as well. If you are within the Galaxy ecosystem, you have the Galaxy Tab, you have the Galaxy Watch Active, you have a Samsung phone. They do have a lot of these similar features, but it's still not quite as cohesive as the Apple experience, but there are manufacturers that are getting there, but just not quite there yet. Okay, so the next one is ease of use. Now, people that are not Apple fans or don't like, or that's really like Android phones more are gonna just, they say some mean things about people using an iPhone, like they're not knowledgeable or they don't know how to use an Android phone. But here's an example right here. So with the iPhone and the Samsung Galaxy S20, you do have gestures on both. However, out of the box, the gestures aren't enabled on the Samsung. So one might think they're always going to use the navigation keys and they don't have those access to gestures. They might have to Google this article, how to do this. Now, this might seem to you as, a techie that you may be, very simple and easy to go change this out. But for some people, that's tricky. They don't want to go have to do that. So they might never use gestures because they don't know it's there. But for those who know it's there, it's there. Now, you also have different options of how to use the gestures. You can swipe from the sides or the bottom, or you could swipe here. Now, for some people, this is just too much. It's just too confusing. And I think it makes it a little bit more difficult to use than just a phone that just comes with gestures. This is how you're going to use it. You're going to use gestures or don't use it at all. Get a home button iPhone. It's just a simpler experience here for the iPhone. So the next one is they get new applications first. Now, this application, Super Mario Run, went on to be a smash hit. It's an editor's choice application, millions of downloads. Yes, the iPhone got this thing first, actually way ahead of competing Galaxy and Google Pixel and other Android devices. And for that reason alone, just getting better applications first, it's a reason to pick the iPhone. If you have this software, if something comes out major, your iPhone, people are going to be focused on getting it to you quickly. And that, I think, is a very good reason to pick iPhone. The next reason is things like family sharing. Your family will get shared a photo album, family calendar, and ability to help locate each other's devices. Now, with the current times, with the COVID going on right now, we know that communication on our, technology is extremely important right now. And I think Apple has one of the best experience for doing this right now in terms of, communicating with each other, just working extremely well. I've had no issues since this whole outbreak has happened, thankfully. And I think this is just one of the reasons people pick iPhone. It's just the ability to have a lot of control over what's going on with maybe parental controls as well as sharing with family. It's just a really great experience when it comes to things like this. And let's not forget the big two. What are the big two? The big two are FaceTime. There are people that think this is the only way to video chat on a phone. I kid you not. They don't know that things like Skype exist. They don't know that things like, Google Duo that exist. There's multiple video chat apps, WeChat, but FaceTime still has this kind of, thing that it's just like, that's what you do. Oh, FaceTime me. Well, I'm using an Android phone. Well, I can't FaceTime you then. Yes, you can. You just have to download a different application that's not called FaceTime. But this is a reason I think a lot of people pick iPhone. I'm not trying to, say that like not everyone. I'm not saying everyone doesn't know that there's other apps. Many do, but some still don't. And the second of the big two is iMessage. And yes, it got even better with swipe texting, new emoji stickers, even more are coming with 13.4 soon. iMessage is just hard to beat. You just can't beat this messaging platform just yet. I think one day, there will be a competing platform that's just as good. But right now, iMessage is still king. And for that reason, those big two applications is a big reason people love the Apple experience. And another reason is the Apple camera experience. And it got even way stronger with the iPhone 11, as well as the iPhone 11 Pro series with the wide angle and the telephoto, which remained from the iPhone XS Max. Just the camera experience, people just know how to use it. The video is incredible. And I think more people are taking videos and photos with iPhones and even real cameras these days. And they usually come out well without any tweaking, without any focusing issues. The iPhone cameras are just super strong. And while Apple has been playing it pretty safe with design over the past few years, they don't really push the boundaries anymore when it comes to design. They kind of just give you really nice, refined looks over what you already kind of had. People still love them. They love the stainless steel. They love the look of the phone, maybe the flat displays. I think the designs are still a strong reason why people pick iPhone. I would argue that some people may think Android phones look a little bit better, some of them these days, but that is not enough for them to not choose the iPhone. And so these are the reasons why people still are picking iPhone over other devices in 2020, even though you would think, what are they doing? Like 120 hertz display on these other phones, zooming to the moon 100x. It doesn't matter. It simply doesn't matter. And the people familiar with the iPhone are waiting for the iPhone 12. I get this comment every day. I'm waiting for the iPhone 12. I will wait for the iPhone 12. Also saying, I'm disappointed that we haven't seen the SE2, which is now going to be called the iPhone 9 and 9 Plus. Waiting for that phone too. So people are still picking iPhone 2020. What I want to know from you are, what are your observations? Why are you still picking iPhone in 2020? Do you feel like this is going to be a lifelong device for you? You're going to stay on iPhone or with any Apple product if, phones eventually get replaced and there's some new type of technology. Are you loyal to the Apple iPhone, or are you just someone who goes back and forth year after year? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one. Stay healthy, stay safe out there. Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Be sure to be well. Thank you very much for watching, and peace.